Taylor Bachrach tells Omar Alghabra that his cabinet created the legislation and the regulations and that he's responsible for the CTA. Taylor also says that airlines have treated passengers in atrocious ways. Here's the clip.
Well, next up.
The floor is yours. You have 2.5 minutes.
Minister, I'll pick up where my colleague left off. On December 29th, Air Canada issued an internal memo stating that effective immediately flight cancellations due to crew are considered as within carrier control for safety. And further, that passengers will no longer be eligible for APPR claims / monetary compensation. Does this reflect your understanding of the spirit of the air passenger protection regulations?
Mr. Bachrach, the CTA is responsible for adjudicating the complaints, and they will look at each complaint independently and objectively. As you can imagine, I want to avoid to prejudge individual complaints. Having said that,
so Minister,
I do not feel that labor issues in spirit can be used as a justification for safety standards.
Thank you for that, Minister. Now, you've repeatedly said that the CTA is an independent body, and yet Cabinet and yourself as Minister of Transport are ultimately accountable. You created the legislation, you created the regulations, and you're responsible for the CTA. Now, Section 43 of the Canadian Transportation Act empowers you and Cabinet to issue policy directives to the CTA. Will you use this in light of what has happened to air passengers over the past year, in light of the fact that airlines continue to treat passengers in such atrocious ways when it comes to delays and cancellations? Will you use this policy directive to strengthen the APPR?
Mr. Bachrach, to use your point and to give you an example of how our government and the Minister of Transport utilized that ability, we actually issued a directive to the CTA, given the lessons that we learned from COVID about areas outside of control of the airlines. And we have issued a directive so they can reform the regulation, so it's now strengthened. And in fact, as of September 8th, we have new set of rules that will take effect to improve the regulations. Now, moving forward, I think there's an opportunity for us to work together on looking at what else can we do to continue to improve and build on the regulations that we have. And I'm happy to work with you and other colleagues on figuring out what else can be done.
Thank you very much,
Chair.
Mr. Bachrach, and thank you, Minister. Next, we have Mr. Baldinelli. Mr. Baldinelli.